Okay, are there risks with seller financing? Yeah, there are risks, and it's not the best option out there, and it's not for everybody. I found it as a fantastic tool, as a fantastic investment, retirement tool, to create interest rate spreads, to create cash flow, to create really great ROIs. I prefer to work with buyers of properties instead of renters of properties. Additionally, there's those out there that need to get rid of an unwanted property, or those that need to avoid short sale or avoid foreclosure. These are people that may really want to consider seller financing. Additionally, it's for those landlords that are tired of dealing with tenants. With seller financing, you're dealing with homeowners. You're dealing with more money down, typically 10% down instead of 1 month's rent, security deposit. So seller financing risks that you hear about, or people that say it's illegal. I'll talk about the legalities of it in the Is It Legal or the Legalities video on this frequently asked questions page. But seller financing risks really are only that a buyer may quit making the mortgage payments, which you've got that same risk with a renter. But in the event where you're transferring title, instead of going through an eviction process, you would need to go through a foreclosure process. And again, that's why I come back to the 10% down rule. I don't recommend a seller doing seller financing without at least 10% down, because that's what you're going to fall back on in the event that you've got to evict a buyer, or evict the buyer that purchased your property. So at the end of the day, if someone buys your property, they make payments on it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, maybe even 5 years, and then they decide to move on. Not only do you have your down payment, but they've paid down the principal of the home. It's very, very, very common that because they're a homeowner, they've done improvements to the property. They've treated it like their home. It's just come time for them to move on, or they have their own financial hardships and quit making the mortgage payments. In most situations when that happens, the buyers are more than wanting and willing to work with the seller to figure out something. In today's market, given where we've come from, I as a real estate agent and a seller finance specialist have entered into those middleman agreements to adjust terms on properties that at once were worth a lot more than they are now. So, is seller financing risky? Yeah, I personally think that it's a lot less risky than being in the stock market or being a landlord or trying to sell my home at today's rock bottom prices. I just don't want to compete with short sales and foreclosures. So seller financing, those risks are very quickly mitigated by the way in which we set up seller finance deals.